Let us now move to the third rung of the ladder of happiness, which we call it as the intellectual happiness. So we have seen the first rung was related to the sensory happiness, which was more with the body. Then we saw the second rung, which was the emotional or mental happiness. And now we are coming to the intellectual happiness. So if you look at the intellectual happiness, and it is the higher rung than the mental happiness. Why? Because it's about how the intelligence that is there within us is helping us to find certain purpose in life or certain ideals in life based on which we are leading our day-to-day activities and our behaviors. So that means human beings are, said to be having this faculty of intelligence, which is at a much higher level than what probably the animals have, where we can actually not just be instinctive in our approach to life, but rather have a free will or a methodology of directing our activities and our actions and our thoughts in a particular way, rather than just work instinctively towards how our senses are attracted towards certain objects, or our attachment to certain things is allowing us to emote and get attracted to certain people or relationships. So intelligence is a discriminatory power, or a power of in the Vedanta it is called purushartha. It means the ability to actually direct our energies, direct our actions. Where your attention goes, the energy flows. So how do you put your attention in the right things? That is the intelligence that we are talking about. And it is said that when we start applying this right uh, methodology of applying our intelligence towards our actions, for that the first thing that is needed is we must know that everybody has to have certain high ideals or certain meaningfulness in whatever actions they are doing, which is what is called purpose in life. A purpose need not be something which is uh, too idealistic, but yes, it needs to be something that's uh, it's something higher than what you are normally able to do in your day-to-day life. So there has to be certain high ideals, there has to be certain purpose, and it's very easy to find a purpose if we are able to look at these 3 points of what you like to do. Obviously, you nobody would like to do something which they're not naturally liking to do. So if you know what you like to do in life, so that's the first check off list. The second is whatever action, whatever thought, whatever area that you are working in or you are liking to do something, how can you help people around with that activity of yours? That's the second part that a person could try and understand. And the third is, while you are doing this activity and you're helping people around, make sure that the work or the outcome of that work is only adding value and making a positive impact on the environment and the world around. That means it's a three-pronged concept of what a person likes to do, is happy doing. Second is the people around are getting benefited by it. And the third is the environment around and the world around. So I think with these 3 points, if we are able to set up certain actions and thoughts in our mind which are slightly higher than what we normally are able to do, I think that's the point that talks about a very different kind of happiness that you get when you achieve things in life. And yes, of course, when we start working in this manner, the highest state of concentration is achieved. And when we are achieving this highest state of concentration, is when it is said that we achieve a state of flow. Now, this flow state has been explained very beautifully by an author, Csikszentmihalyi, who has who has written a book on this, and there are a lot of beautiful videos on this topic, which talks about challenging yourself in any activity. And when the challenge level goes up, okay, at a particular level, it should not be too high that causes anxiety, but yes, when it's an optimum level of challenge and it is challenging your own abilities, is when you start experiencing flow, which is shown in this particular slide as the central part, where initially, when the challenge is not very high and the abilities are not very high, you have fun doing those activities, then it goes up to joy, and then it goes up to energizing yourself, and finally it leads to growth. So this is the beauty of flow. And what we are trying to say here is that when this kind of when you start putting a purpose in life, when you have a higher ideal, and you are completely concentrated in what you are doing at this moment, is when you start experiencing this flow state. And it is said that when you are in this flow state, you get the highest creativity in your mind. So that's when the innovations would happen. There would be a high energy and enthusiasm at work. And of course, every success that you get, you feel inspired, or you aspire to achieve greater things in life. You have a higher ambition to achieve things. You learn new things. And therefore, what is an advice how to achieve this state of happiness? And this state of happiness is said to be at one level higher than the happiness that you get out of relationship, because you are completely absorbed into this activity. So that is why the way to get involved in, or to get more of this intellectual happiness, is to start indulging in activities that is something got to do with what you really love to do. It could be art, it could be dance, it could be music, it could be creating something, it could be making something, it could be any activity that you love to do. But when you start indulging yourself into it with a very focused method of learning something new, improving yourself, having that 1% improvement from the previous activity that you did, this intellectual happiness is something that a person gets absorbed into. You lose track of time, you lose track of what is happening around. You're completely engrossed into that particular activity that you're doing. And this, at this moment of flow, it's the happiness that you get is at a very, very high level, and it is likely to stay for a very long time, in the sense that you get completely absorbed into it. And that's the reason why the intellectual happiness is said to be at a higher rung even than the emotional level of happiness that you get through relationships. So I think that's the understanding of this higher rung of ladder called intellectual happiness. Thank you.